Hello, Homestead. This is Greg Giglio, principal of Homestead High School, coming at you with another one of my community check-ins. So I'm going to share my screen here with you and do my presentation. So this is for the week of 5/26. Hope you all had a great Memorial Day weekend and got a chance to rest and relax, maybe stretch your legs a little bit. If not, stay socially safe. But here we are. These are the general announcements for this week. Our seniors, your last day is Thursday, the 28th. So that is coming up. Just a couple more days left of high school. So make the most of it. Last day for all our other students, 9th through 11th graders, is going to be Thursday, June 4th. So that is also quickly approaching us here. Just a reminder that there are no special schedules for finals. We're going to be doing the same schedule all the way through to June 4th. But teachers may have some final projects or tests or whatever that they're doing during those times, but there's no special final schedule. There may have been some confusion because it may have been left on the website, but again, same as it has been for this past several months all the way through the end. We do have a senior awards ceremony, a virtual one that's going to be aired tomorrow night, and tomorrow is 5/27 at 6 p.m. If you go to our Mustang YouTube channel, you'll be able to find the link to that. So that'll be the 27th at 6 p.m. After that, we definitely have our senior checkout, which is the week of June 1st. So seniors, instead of going to class, will be coming in during their allotted times, appointed times, to return textbooks, materials, uniforms, all that stuff. And then pick up their yearbooks, other things that they may have had here or got from school. And then if they want, there is a chance to get a picture, a photo taken with your cap and gown. So if you bring that with you, and you can jump out of the car while the car is stopped, hopefully, and you can take your picture, and we will send you a link that you can download that picture from. It's a professional photographer that'll be doing that in your cap and gown. We are trying to organize a senior car parade because the county of Santa Clara has loosened up on some of the restrictions, and so that is something we're looking to do. And if we do that, we'll also do that on June 4th. But we don't have the final details on that yet, and we don't have approval yet from the city, so we're still working on that. So if we get that, we'll send that out as soon as possible. Again, our virtual graduation is June 4th at 6 p.m. So you'll also make sure you keep an eye out for the link there. And then for all the other students, our 9th graders through 11th graders, we will be doing a book return and yearbook pickup and that kind of stuff the week of June 8th. So that information will be coming out as well in an email to all of you. We had a lot of roses this time, so I actually have 2 pages of roses. So thank you very much. Appreciate all the shout outs. So I'm going to go through these. There was some particular teachers that were mentioned, particularly Mr. Byrne and Mr. Rendon in our music department for their wonderful end of year music celebration. They had a virtual celebration for all their bands and choirs and whatnot that they did an end of year thing. So they're getting some recognition for that. There was also recognition from Mrs. Murray, who was our math department lead, talking about the great amount of work that she did and that her students did to stay moving forward in their math classes, as well as her communication about classes for next year and information that's needed for next year. Mrs. Stanwood was also given a recognition for taking part in a leadership interview. There are several of our groups here on campus that are required to interview someone about leadership, and it's like Ms. Stanwood got picked for that, so thank you for doing that. There was a thank you to Mr. McMahon for being so responsive in his communication during school closures. One person said they really appreciated the "We Miss You" video, which we had a lot of fun making. So we're glad that went over well. So I hope you guys got a chance to see that. If not, it's on our webpage. There was a general shout out to our teachers who were adjusting the big workloads and projects while on remote learning. That the way they were doing that was really helpful for students, and it didn't feel overly burdensome, was what this person talked about. There was a special shout out as well for Mrs. Von Stein, who is our world language department lead, as well as a French teacher, for being so supportive and caring to all of her students, no matter whether face-to-face or in remote learning. There was also a rose for Miss Trejo, who was our dean, one of our deans of students, who was particularly dedicated in a rough meeting that was going on, and she did a great job keeping the meeting moving forward, as well as translating it in Spanish. So thank you for that. Mr. Lavelle was also given a rose for his prompt responses regarding any questions that came up about athletics and team athletics. So they thank you for that. Mr. Yusum, who is our health clerk and athletic trainer, as well as Ms. Figueroa, who is our attendance clerk and then backup assistant or assistant health clerk, for their help in returning medications back to our students during the remote closure. They're the ones who hold on to medication that students need to take during the year, and they keep that safe and keep our students safe doing that. There was another shout out for the food service for continuing their great work and feeding all our students. They've been no slowdown in the number of requests for food, so they are constantly busy on those Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and we really have appreciated their help, and I know other people do too. There was a shout out for folks to the staff for paying attention to the social and emotional well-being of students. We have tried to make sure we're checking in on kids, and so this rose definitely talked about staff members who have helped out in that situation. And then there was a shout out for me, so thank you very much for the videos and the questionnaires. So glad to be of service, and hope we can continue to do this next couple weeks. Also had a lot of buds that came through. Some of them kind of borderlined a little bit on a thorn. Some of them were ideas, and some of them were kind of almost a rose, but I kind of tried to mention them all here. There was a suggestion about maybe spreading out due dates for work, that they tend to fall on Mondays. I know we're at the end of the year here, but this is something I will pass along to teachers. As I'll explain later, we might be still in some remote learning next year, so this would be something for us to definitely take into consideration. There were a couple questions about confusion over School Loop and Schoology and where to find things and what do these email means and a lot of that, and was this a real-time display? Just want to let folks know that right now there's a bit of confusion because we do have both platforms, School Loop and Schoology. And we're going to be eliminating School Loop starting next year, and we'll be only on Schoology. So it's a platform that actually really melds well with Google Classroom, which our next Bud talks about. But it's a lot easier to navigate and a lot easier to see and do things in, and there will be real-time displays of submission of work and that kind of thing. So it should be a little bit easier to follow along with what your kids are doing. Again, a parent just wanted to mention that Google Classroom had been very helpful in their students staying organized, and was hoping that our teachers could do that. And again, Schoology will help work with that, and there's a lot of great connections between Schoology and Google Classroom and the whole Google suite, so that'll work out pretty well. There was a question about, is there a chance for students or staff to give feedback about how the year has gone? That's a little bit about what this survey is, and I do share these videos with our staff so that they see and hear some of the same things that we're talking about. But there is going to be a district survey that is going to be coming out that's going to go to students, staff, and parents that will ask about how their experiences were this year and what are some things we can do to improve upon it. Should we remain in remote learning or parts of remote learning? So please keep an eye out for that. So that will be coming, but that is coming from the district office, not from Homestead in particular. Person just wanted to also say that they really appreciated the recorded lectures and videos that have been really helpful for their student to go back and review and record, and they're hoping that we can do more of those kinds of things. A parent just wanted to point out that there was some confusion over the term office hours, that really office hours is just another way to say tutorial. And we probably should have used the term tutorial, and we'll do that down the line from here on off. But that's what office hours are. Office hours are a chance to, just like in tutorial, for students and teachers to connect. So again, in the last several days that we have here, if you have questions, any concerns, any stress that comes up, please email and contact your teachers, especially during office hours or tutorial, so that they can help you out. My last video, there were some thorns about board members, and so there were some suggestions from some parents about, you can always go check out all the information that's on the district website. There's a special whole page with a bunch of links and connections to board members, to board meeting agendas, that kind of stuff, to our district policies. So if you ever want to get more information about that, this parent suggested getting on the district website and checking that out. Another parent suggested, that if parents want to know more about how schools work and how some of the governing bodies work, there's a great resource called ed100.org. Now, personally, I've never looked at it, but this parent said it was really good. So if you want to go check it out, there's some this educational stuff on there for parents. A parent asked if we could do some tutorials on how to navigate Schoology and our website and some more different platforms, which is definitely a great idea. We probably won't get that done before the end of this year, but it's something we can definitely work on for next year. So I've put that on my file of things to do for next year. We'll start creating some of those things. I know there's going to be some training that comes out. Like right now, teachers are receiving training on Schoology, so there will be some training for parents as well too. But again, some of these other things out there, like our website might be, or Infinite Campus, those might be some good tutorials for the parents. So we're going to look on doing some of those as well. The majority of the questions and concerns that came in on Thorns were about what's going to happen next year. What does 2020 look like? And there's still a lot of questions out there, but I thought I'd try and cover all of these in maybe one big slide here. But right now, the start date for school is still August 17th. And there's been a lot of information out there about it, whether it's going to start early or later or whatever. But for right now, for us, August 17th is still the date. We have not heard of any reason to change it or need to change it. And so at this point, that's still our start date. So you can still put that on the calendar. We are waiting to hear about what some of the restrictions and guidelines are going to be next year. We don't know whether they're going to say, right now, 10 or more people is too large of a gathering. That's impossible for us to have any face-to-face learning like that. But if they open that up to 25 or to 50 or to 100, then that could be looking at some different ways to have kids on campus. So we don't exactly know what that's going to look like next year. So we're waiting to hear some feedback on that, as well as guidelines. Do students have to wear masks? Do they have to wear gloves? How do we keep kids walking down the hallway from running into each other? All those kinds of things. So we're still waiting to hear a lot of that information, but we're making some of our best guesses and doing some planning, what I would call pre-planning on a lot of all the different scenarios that could happen. And so, next year, really, there's sort of three likely scenarios. One is that we'll be doing face-to-face learning 100%. Not sure that that's the way we're going to start the year. This is my personal opinion, but that's not the way we're probably going to start the year. But at some point in the year, that's where we could get to. Once we get to there, that'll be fine because we already know how to do that. We may have to make a few changes about, how kids move through the campus and where they get to sit at lunch and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, that'll be something that, easier to do than what we're doing right now. The other possibility is that we're in 100% remote learning. And again, that depends on the restrictions and guidelines that we are being given by the county. The other is that we'll be in some sort of a combination of staggered schedules where some kids will be on campus while the rest are at home learning, and then we kind of rotate kids in every day. Again, that's what we mean by trying to plan for the different scenarios. So we're definitely looking at those things. But no matter what kind of schedule, whether it's face-to-face, remote learning, or combination of the two, these are the things that we have to do. We have to return to letter grades. There will not be credit, no credit next year. There will be letter grades. So in order to do that, we have to look at a more robust schedule option. So we're looking at a bunch of different ways that we can, if we're on remote learning, increase the amount of time that kids and teachers are together and in the classroom, the virtual classroom that is. So there's a lot of different ways that we're looking at that. We're looking at some of the other examples that are out there. We're trying to maybe create some of our own. Again, we don't have a finalized schedule yet, though. We also need to be really gathering, and which is what we are doing, gathering assessment and technology resources so that if we are on remote learning, we can, improve some of the offerings that we have. So we are out there combing and getting the best that we can and looking at what has worked well and being able to move forward with that. As I mentioned a little while ago, the School Loop will be going away and Schoology will be our system. And so one of the concerns about remote learning right now is that there's a lot of information coming from different sources. So we'll start to streamline that a bit. So that will be helpful and more maybe easier for you guys to navigate. We also know that if we're at any point on campus, we're going to have to really look at some improved or increased sanitation during the day, at the end of the day, through the day, as well as what kinds of, again, guidelines we'll have regarding personal protection that we have to wear. So I wish I could have a more clear answer for you, but please know that we're looking at all these things, that we're working on it. And we do, have the luxury of time right now where we've got these next couple of weeks of school to kind of really look at how remote learning went, what worked, what didn't work. We have the summer to then do a lot of planning and designing of plans, so that when we come back, however we come back next year, we will be in a much better place. So we know that if we are in remote learning for any extended amount of time, we are really going to have to boost up what we've done rather than what we did in this emergency situation of remote learning. So know that we're working on those things, and as soon as we get those specifics, we will definitely get them to you. There was a parent who sent in a question about an Algebra I final, and saying, how can my student prepare for a final when there's not been a lot of lecturing or instruction going on? And again, this would be like, if you saw our video last time, this would be a good chance for you to reach out to your individual teacher. So student really should talk to the teacher to find out what is on that quote unquote final. Even like I mentioned before, that we don't have a final schedule, but some teachers are doing some final projects and assessments, but we've had to really look differently at how we do finals. You know, finals are usually a very big, huge test or project that could, you know, affect your grade significantly. In this case, some of the finals that people are given are not necessarily these huge point things, or they are meant to be more of a guide than an actual assessment. And so you might want to make sure your student's talking with the parent or talking with the teacher to see what kind of finals are there. How many questions is it? How long is it going to take? What's the actual purpose of it? Because some math classes are talking about giving tests that will be used, you know, not only to help keep that student in credit status and moving forward, but also be used by the teachers next year to say, okay, where were students need some more help? Where do we need to pick up instruction? So again, before, you know, stressing out too much, I think the best idea would be to contact that teacher and say, can you kind of explain to us what's going on and how do we use this and how do we study for it? Because you're right, we had 7 months of face-to-face learning, which is the majority of the class, and these last couple of months have really been about reviewing and keeping with the essentials, so it was not as robust as face-to-face learning. So again, how much of the remote learning will be on the final? Is it a whole year final? Is it really just a unit final? I think there's a way to find out some of those answers, but again, you would need to go to your individual teachers to find that out. And again, I put this out there because if you have questions like this for, you know, your students who have questions like this, they should definitely contact their teachers to find out more information along these lines. There was a thorn about seniors saying, I wish the school would do more to celebrate our seniors. And to be honest, I don't disagree. You know, we are doing virtual graduation, but here are some other things that we've since been able to add in. You know, our PTSA worked with us to purchase lawn signs for all our seniors. And so normally schools or, you know, the outside services charge students for these, but we're providing these for free, so that every student can have one of these. So we handed those out at cap and gown pickup. And if you didn't have a cap and gown and you didn't come pick it up, or you didn't get your sign there, please email Mr. Dong, and his email is down there below, and he can help get one to you. PTSA has also been purchasing some banners and some decorations. We'll be putting out some decorations and that kind of stuff too, to help kind of make the place a little more festive. As I mentioned at the beginning, we are working on trying to plan a car parade. It is not as easy as just saying we're going to do it. We have to work with the cities and get permission, and we have to have routes and protection, you know, to get through intersections and that kind of stuff. So it's not the easiest thing in the world, but we are definitely trying to scramble and get that together. So if we're able to get that approved and worked out, we will definitely send that to you, which again, the idea would be to try and do that on the same day that the virtual graduation is being released. So you do the parade and then get home for graduation. So if that all works out, knock on wood, that'll be another great way for us to do some celebrating. One of the other things that we added is that because we couldn't get the caps and gowns in time to be used in the virtual graduation, which would have been the ideal time, we actually thought we wanted people to be able to have a good keepsake in their cap and gown. So one of the things we're going to do during senior checkout is your student can wear their gown to the checkout, and at the very end, you know, we have a spot where they can get out of their car, take a quick picture that's going to be done by a professional, and then there'll be a link for you and your student to go in there and download that photo for free. And so again, just another way to try and give a keepsake or thanks something for the year. Again, any questions regarding any of this, Mr. Dong is handling all of our graduation stuff, so please feel free to email him. And in trying to get the last word in here, again, please keep your eyes open for the district survey that's coming out, because again, that's going to be really helpful for us because there are so many different experiences out there to really kind of get some themes and some feelings of ways things worked for certain groups or other groups is going to be really helpful for us to plan next year. You can always continue to respond to mine, and I hope you do. I'll keep responding as long as there are people submitting things. But I would definitely encourage you to complete the one from the district, because that one's going to have probably the bigger punch and impact. So please do that. And then finally, I just, again, want to say congratulations to our seniors, to our senior parents. This is always a very surreal time for everyone, knowing that your high school career is coming to an end, and this must be an even harder time to do so. We're just down to a couple days now. So again, congratulations to all your seniors, to all your parents for working so hard with your students and supporting Homestead. This is a time to celebrate all the work that you guys have done together. So we really appreciate having had you here for 4 years, or however many years or months you may have been with us. But we will miss you, and we look forward to the great things that you'll be doing out in the world. So again, congratulations to everybody, and have a great week, and we'll see you next time.